My daughter blocked me exactly 10 years ago today. 10 years. 3,650 days. Without a single phone call. Not one text message. I'm 73 years old. My name is Margaret Henderson, and I've lived my entire life in a small town in Springfield, Ohio. And 10 years ago, my only daughter, Emily, disappeared from my life one day, suddenly, without any reason, without explanation, without even saying goodbye. That day was Thursday, March 12th, 2015. It was an ordinary spring day. I woke up early, made coffee, and looked out the window at the magnolia tree beginning to bloom. Then I called Emily. "Hello? Emily, it's Mom. Want to have lunch together today?" Like I always did. But that day, the call wouldn't connect. At first, I thought she was just busy. Emily was working at a marketing company in Chicago at the time, living with her husband, Brad. So I sent her a text. "Emily, it's Mom. Can you call me? I miss you." No reply. I called the next day, and the day after that, and the day after that. A week passed with no contact. I started to feel anxious. 2 weeks later, I called Emily's workplace. "Hello, may I speak with Emily Henderson?" A coworker answered cautiously. "I'm sorry, but Emily doesn't work here anymore." My heart sank. What? When did she leave? About a month ago. We were only told it was for personal reasons. A month ago? So Emily had quit her job without telling me. Why? What had happened? I sent emails, 10, 20, 50 of them. No replies to any of them. I sent Facebook messages. They didn't even show as read. So I wrote her a letter by hand, carefully, with trembling hands. "Dear Emily, it's Mom. What's going on? Did I do something wrong? Please tell me. I can't live without you. There must be a reason for this. Please, just answer me once." I mailed the letter, but a week later, it came back stamped addressee unknown. Emily had moved, and she hadn't told me. That year, Christmas came. I prepared a gift for Emily, a cashmere scarf she loved, and homemade gingerbread cookies I'd baked myself. But I had no address to send them to. I placed the gift under the living room tree and cried alone. April 2016 was Emily's 33rd birthday. I baked a cake, I lit the candles, and I sang "Happy Birthday" by myself at an empty dining table. That night, I went into Emily's room and looked through old photographs. The day Emily first rode a bicycle, at age 7. Her high school graduation, leaning on my shoulder with a smile. Her wedding day, holding my hand tight and whispering, "Mom, I love you." How could we have been so close and end up like this? Every night, I asked myself, what did I do wrong? Was I too interfering? Did I make some mistake at the wedding? Did I say something wrong about her relationship with Brad? I rewound the past few years in my mind over and over. But, no matter how hard I thought, I couldn't find a reason. Emily always told me she loved me. We rarely even fought. So why? Why did my daughter block me so completely? Without a single word of explanation, the neighbors started to notice. "Margaret, how's Emily doing these days?" "Oh, she's busy, I think. Is she coming for Thanksgiving this year?" "Well, maybe." It was so hard to lie. Church friends asked too. "Have you heard from Emily? How is she?" "She's doing fine, I suppose." I started avoiding people, because every time Emily's name came up, my heart felt like it was collapsing. Every night, I had the same nightmare. A dream where Emily saw me and turned away. A dream where no matter how much I called her, she never looked back. And I would wake up at 3 a.m., soaking my pillow with tears. "Emily, please, just hear your mother's voice." But there was no answer for 10 years. Not even once. 2015 became 2016. 2016 became 2017. And before I knew it, it was 2025. 10 years had passed, but the wound in my heart hadn't healed for even a single day. I still wake up every morning thinking, will I hear from Emily today? But I don't. Never. And I begin another day without my daughter. People say, time heals all wounds, you'll forget. But I know the pain of losing a daughter is never forgotten, especially when you lose her without knowing why. So I lived every day in guilt, an invisible crime, a nameless mistake, and questions without answers. But there was something I didn't know. 10 years later, on a cold winter day, the truth would come to me. Everyone, please wait just a moment. If you've ever been hurt in a family relationship or experienced a separation you couldn't understand, I hope this story brings you comfort. This channel shares real stories from seniors, the pain we've lived through, and the hope we've found within it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button now and turn on notifications so you can be the first to hear new stories. Now, let's continue the story. Margaret's 10 years of pain was only just beginning. Chapter 2. A year after Emily disappeared, the neighbors started talking. One afternoon, I was shopping at the supermarket when Barbara from next door approached me. "Margaret, how are you doing? Any news from Emily?" I forced a smile. "No, not yet." Barbara shook her head. "That's too bad. But you know what? I think," she lowered her voice, "Emily betrayed you. That's what young people do these days. They abandon their parents." Betrayed? That word stabbed into my chest like a knife. "No, Barbara. Emily's not like that. But it's true, isn't it? No contact for 10 years? That's betrayal, Margaret." The following Sunday, after church service ended, my old friend Dorothy took my hand. "Margaret, could Emily's husband be the problem?" "Brad?" "Yes. Maybe Brad's trying to separate Emily from you. You know those kinds of sons-in-law. The ones who hate their mother-in-law." I shook my head. "No, Brad is a good man. He was always kind to me." Then maybe Emily took his side, just listening to her husband. Dorothy's words were well-intentioned, but they hurt me even more. Was Brad really manipulating Emily? Or did Emily really abandon me on her own? The nights were the hardest. I would lie in bed, stare at the ceiling, and think about Emily. When Emily was 7, she'd have nightmares and run into my room crying, "Mommy, I'm scared." When she was 16, she broke up with her first boyfriend and cried in my arms for hours. And the night before her wedding, we sat in the kitchen drinking tea, and she asked, "Mom, do you think I can do this?" I held Emily's hand tight and said, "Of course you can. You're strong, loving, and smart, and Mom will always be by your side." But now, Emily wasn't by my side, and I was left alone, not knowing why. One evening, I went up to the attic. There were boxes of Emily's childhood belongings stored there. I opened a dusty box. Inside were drawings Emily had made in elementary school. Family pictures drawn in crayon. Pictures of Mom and Emily, holding hands and smiling. Under the picture, in wobbly handwriting, it said, "I love my mommy. Mommy is the best in the world." I held that drawing to my chest and cried out loud, "Emily, what did I do wrong?" In the box was also a letter Emily had sent me from college. "Mom, I'm adjusting well to dorm life. I miss you. I'll come home this weekend. I really want to eat your apple pie. I love you, Mom." Emily. I read that letter over and over. How could a daughter who loved me this much do this? In the fall of 2017, I made a decision. I couldn't wait any longer. I found the address of the Chicago apartment where Emily had last lived, and I took a bus to Chicago. It took 6 hours, but I was trembling with hope that I might see Emily. When I arrived in front of the apartment building in downtown Chicago, my heart felt like it would explode. "Please, let Emily be here." I went into the lobby. I asked the manager, "Excuse me, does Emily Henderson live here, on the 12th floor?" The manager shook his head. "No, that unit got a new tenant 6 months ago." Then, where did Emily go? "I'm sorry, but I can't share personal information." I collapsed. I sank into the lobby sofa and covered my face with my hands. Emily, where are you now? As a last hope, I tried to find Emily's husband Brad's phone number. I searched through old phone books. I searched social media. And finally, I found Brad's LinkedIn profile. He was still working in Chicago. I gathered courage and sent him a message. Brad, this is Margaret, Emily's mom. Please tell me where Emily is. I just want to know if my daughter is okay. Please. I waited 3 days. A reply came. One short line. I'm sorry, I can't help you. That was all. Brad had blocked me too. Every Christmas, the first wrote a card to Emily, even though I had no address to send it to. Christmas 2018. To Emily. Merry Christmas, my love. I miss you again this year. I hope you're happy. Love, Mom. Christmas 2019. To Emily. Another year has passed. Mom is still waiting for you. Come back anytime. Mom will be here. I love you. Christmas 2020. To Emily. The world is struggling because of COVID. Are you okay? Are you healthy? Mom prays for your safety every day. Please, contact me just once. But all these cards just piled up in my drawer because I had nowhere to send them. 5 years passed, and I was slowly breaking down. When I looked in the mirror, I saw my aged face, deeper wrinkles, white hair, tear stains around my eyes. I said to myself, I must have done something wrong. A daughter wouldn't abandon her mother for no reason. I must have been a bad mother. Every night, I looked back on my life. Was I too strict when Emily was young? Did I interfere too much with her boyfriend problems in high school? Did I force her to go to the college I wanted? Did I say something negative about Brad when she got married? No matter how hard I thought, I couldn't find any major mistakes. But surely, there must be something I didn't know about. So, I couldn't forgive myself. Every Thanksgiving, the first set a big table, hoping Emily might come. I roasted a turkey, made the cranberry sauce Emily loved, and baked pumpkin pie. And I sat by the door and waited until the sun set, darkness fell, and night deepened. But Emily didn't come, and I sat alone at an empty table, staring at the cold food. Emily, where are you now? Who are you spending Thanksgiving with? Tears fell onto the plate of food. As time passed, even my friends' attitudes toward me changed. People who had comforted me at first gradually showed signs of fatigue. Margaret, why don't you try to forget now? It's been 10 years. There must be a reason Emily isn't contacting you. Just accept it. Don't be so obsessed. You need to live your own life too. I knew their words weren't wrong. But how could I forget my daughter? How could I just accept it? I became more and more isolated. Meeting people, going to church, everything became difficult. When everyone talked about their happy families, I just stared at an empty chair. And then it was 2025, exactly 10 years. I was now 73 years old, and my health wasn't what it used to be. My knees hurt, my back hurt, and I couldn't sleep properly at night. One day, I stood in front of the mirror and looked at my aged self. And I thought, will one be able to see Emily again before I die? If I die, will Emily at least come to my funeral? Or will Emily not even know I've died? Just that thought made me unable to breathe. I've experienced a lot in my life. I lost my husband, I lost my parents, and friends left one by one. But nothing was as painful as losing my daughter, especially losing a daughter who's alive but unreachable. One Sunday night, I knelt down and prayed, God, please, give me an answer. Why do I have to suffer this pain? Why did Emily leave me? Please, before I die, I want to know the truth. I didn't know then that my prayer would soon be answered, and that the answer would completely shake my life. It was a cold Tuesday morning in January 2025. I woke up as usual, made coffee, and looked out the window. It was snowing. Ohio winters were always this quiet. When I opened the front door to check the mailbox, cold wind hit my face. Inside the mailbox were a few flyers and bills, and one thick brown envelope. I picked up the envelope, and suddenly my breath stopped. The name written on the envelope, Emily Henderson. Emily's name, the first time I'd seen it in 10 years. My hands trembled. Is this real? Did Emily send something? Or, I turned the envelope over. I checked the return address. Northwestern Memorial Hospital, Medical Records Department, Chicago, IL. A hospital? Why would a hospital send mail in Emily's name? I hurried inside and sat at the dining table. My hands were shaking so much I could barely open the envelope. Calm down, Margaret. Calm down. I took a deep breath and carefully opened the envelope. Inside the envelope were several documents. The first document was an official letter with hospital letterhead. Medical records release. Request. Patient name, Emily Henderson. Date, March 2015. March 2015. That was exactly when Emily stopped contacting me. I continued reading. This hospital requests confirmation of access authorization to patient Emily Henderson's medical records. This document is being sent to Margaret Henderson, the emergency contact designated by the patient. Records cannot be disclosed without patient consent. However, as contact with the patient has been lost, we are notifying the emergency contact. It was hard to understand what this meant. Why was the hospital sending me this? Where was Emily? The next document was partially copied medical records. Most of it was blacked out, but I could read a few lines. Patient presented to emergency room on March 10, 2015. Primary complaint, redacted. Secondary symptoms, severe emotional trauma. March 10th. That was 2 days before Emily stopped answering my calls. I kept reading. Patient in extreme distress due to redacted. Shows severe emotional response when family is mentioned. Psychiatric consultation recommended. My heart was racing. Emily went to the emergency room in March 2015. Why? What happened? And why didn't I know about it? The third document was another official form. Psychological counseling records. Access request. Counselor, Dr. Sarah Mitchell. Date, March 2015, June 2015. Emily received psychological counseling for 3 months. At the bottom of the document was a handwritten note. To emergency contact. Patient Emily Henderson discontinued counseling after June 2015 and contact has been lost since then. Family cooperation may be needed regarding patient safety. Patient's written consent is required to access these records. Response requested. I put the papers down and covered my face with both hands. Emily was going through such a difficult time in March 2015, and I had no idea. I collapsed on the table and started crying. How did I not know? My daughter went to the emergency room, received counseling. Why didn't Emily tell me? Was I an unapproachable mother? All the questions swirled in my head, and one thing became clear. Emily blocking me wasn't a simple misunderstanding. Something serious had happened in March 2015, and that thing had completely broken Emily. I read the documents carefully again, hoping I hadn't missed any information. At the very bottom of the medical record copy, in small print, it said, Related case, Domestic Violence Victim Support Program referral. Domestic violence? My mind went blank. Emily was a victim of domestic violence? By whom? Brad? No, that can't be. Brad always loved Emily. Or was there something about Brad I didn't know? I hurried to call my neighbor, Barbara. Barbara, do you remember if you saw anything strange about Emily in 2015? 2015? Well, did Emily come for Christmas that year? No, before that, around March. Barbara thought for a moment. Oh, right. Emily did come once then, but she was very quiet. She didn't look well. Really? What did she say? She didn't say much. She just stopped by your house briefly and left quickly. I just thought she was busy. Did Emily seem injured? Injured, well, but she was wearing sunglasses in March. I thought that was a bit strange. My heart sank. Sunglasses in March? Could she have had a bruise on her eye? I called the number on the hospital document. Northwestern Memorial Hospital, Medical Records Department. Hello, I'm Margaret Henderson, and I received correspondence regarding my daughter Emily Henderson's records. Yes, one moment please. Let me check. Hold music played briefly. Miss Henderson, it's confirmed. However, we cannot provide any further information without the patient's written consent. I know, but my daughter has been out of contact for 10 years. Please, tell me something. I'm sorry. It's legally impossible. Then, can you at least tell me if my daughter is safe? A long silence. I'm sorry. I can't tell you that either. The call ended. I searched the internet for the counselor's name on the document. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, clinical psychologist. I found her clinic website. It was in downtown Chicago. I hesitated. Should I go to Chicago again? But this was the first real clue I'd found in 10 years. I started packing my bag. I decided to take the first bus to Chicago tomorrow. That night, I couldn't sleep. 1,000 scenarios ran through my head. What if someone had hurt Emily? What if Emily had been in danger? What if Emily had tried to ask me for help, but I didn't notice? Please, let Emily be safe. I got out of bed and went to Emily's room. I sat on Emily's bed and held an old teddy bear, the stuffed animal Emily cherished most when she was young. Emily, Mom is coming. I'm going to find the truth. I'm going to find out what happened. At 5 a.m., I got up and packed. I put on my old coat and placed Emily's photo in my wallet. I stood in front of the mirror and said to myself, Margaret, you can do this for your daughter, 73 years old. My knees hurt. My heart was weak, but I couldn't give up. This was the last thing I had to do as a mother. Find the truth. Find out what happened to Emily. And, if possible, find my daughter again. At 7 a.m., I stood at the bus stop. The bus to Chicago arrived. I climbed the steps and sat in a seat. Through the window, Springfield grew farther away. The town I'd lived in my whole life. The house where I raised Emily. The place where all my memories were. But now, I had to move forward. The bus entered the highway. I unfolded the hospital documents in my hand again and whispered softly, Emily, Mom will find the truth. Wait for me. The bus arrived in Chicago at 2 p.m. During the 6-hour journey, I hadn't slept once. My mind was too complicated. When I got off at the Chicago Greyhound terminal, cold wind blew. The city was still busy. People rushed past. But I had only one thought. Emily, my daughter, had collapsed somewhere in this city 10 years ago, and I had to find out why. The hospital was in the heart of downtown. It was a huge building, modern and clean. I entered the lobby through the revolving door. I approached the information desk. Excuse me, where is the medical records department? A young employee smiled and answered, 3rd floor, take that elevator. Thank you. In the elevator, I saw my reflection in the mirror, an old, tired 73-year-old woman. But in my eyes, there was desperation. I walked down the 3rd floor hallway. I saw the sign that said, Medical Records. I opened the door and entered. There was a small waiting room and a window. Behind the window sat a middle-aged woman. How can I help you? Hello, I'm Margaret Henderson, and I'm here regarding my daughter Emily Henderson's records. The woman checked the computer. Ah, yes, you're the person we sent the mail to. Yes. Please tell me more about my daughter. She's been out of contact for 10 years. The woman made a sympathetic expression. I understand, Miss Henderson, but according to HIPAA law, we cannot disclose medical records without the patient's written consent. But I'm Emily's mother. I'm sorry. It's the law. My voice trembled. Please, at least tell me if my daughter is safe. I'm sorry. Do you know where Emily is? I can't tell you that. Then, is Emily at least alive? My voice broke. The woman hesitated for a moment. Miss Henderson, we really want to help, but it's legally impossible. If you find your daughter and she signs a consent form herself, then you can see the records. But I can't find my daughter. That's why I'm here. I collapsed in front of the window. Tears poured out. Please, I just want to know what happened to my daughter. I sat in a waiting room chair and cried for a long time. There was no other way. The law was blocking me. Blocking the truth from a mother. I got up and went out into the hallway, looking for a restroom. Then, an elderly nurse passed by. She saw me and stopped. Are you okay? I wiped my tears. Yes, I'm fine. No, you don't look fine. She sat next to me. What's wrong? I told the nurse everything. That Emily had cut contact for 10 years. That mail had come from the hospital. That something had happened in March 2015. But no one would tell me anything. The nurse listened quietly. Then, after thinking for a moment, she said, Henderson, you said Emily Henderson, right? Yes, that's my daughter. Do you know her? The nurse looked around, checking if anyone was there. She lowered her voice. I've worked at this hospital for 35 years, in the emergency room. My heart raced. Have you seen my daughter? The nurse slowly nodded. I remember, March 2015. I can't forget that night. What happened? Please tell me. The nurse took a deep breath. I can't legally tell you, but... She hesitated for a moment. As a mother, I think you need to know. Please. The nurse held my hand. Your daughter came to the emergency room that night, alone. Alone? Yes. She was in very difficult condition. Was she hurt? The nurse shook her head. Not just physically, mentally, she was completely broken. The nurse continued, I was on duty that night. I took care of your daughter. What did Emily say? She cried a lot. She kept crying. And? The nurse paused for a moment. Whenever family was mentioned, she cried even harder. Family? Yes. When we asked for an emergency contact, your daughter said your name, Margaret Henderson. Me? Then why didn't Emily contact me? The nurse made a sad expression. Your daughter said, don't call my mom. What? And she cried and said, my mom doesn't want me anymore. My world collapsed. What? What does that mean? I always wanted Emily, always. The nurse squeezed my hand tighter. I thought so too. So I asked your daughter, why do you think that? What did Emily say? Your daughter said, my mom chose another child. Another child? What does that mean? Emily is all I have. The nurse shook her head. I couldn't understand it either, but your daughter was certain, very certain. You should have told her it was a misunderstanding. We did. But your daughter wouldn't listen. She said she saw something, that there was proof. I couldn't breathe. What did Emily see? She said, a picture. A picture? Yes. Your daughter said she saw some picture. That picture changed everything. What picture? What kind of picture? The nurse shook her head. She didn't say. But because of that picture, your daughter completely broke down. I searched my mind. What picture? A picture Emily saw in March 2015? What kind of picture could make my daughter misunderstand me? The nurse started to get up. I can't tell you anymore. I've already said too much. Please, just a little more. The nurse hesitated, then said, I'll tell you just one more thing. Yes? Your daughter told me that night I loved my mom, but she abandoned me. Tears rolled down my cheeks. I never abandoned Emily. Never. The nurse patted my shoulder. Tell that to your daughter, directly. You need to clear up the misunderstanding. How? I don't even know where Emily is. Find her. Don't give up. You're her mother. The nurse quietly left. I was left alone in the hallway. I leaned against the wall and slowly sank down. A picture. What picture? March 2015. What was I doing then? What picture did I send to Emily? Or did Emily see a picture of me somewhere? I tried to remember, but nothing came to mind. I staggered out of the hospital. Chicago's cold evening air hit my face. The street lights looked blurry. I couldn't tell if it was because of tears or fatigue. I sat on a nearby bench and thought. Emily misunderstood me. Emily thought I chose another child. Emily believed I had abandoned her. My heart felt like it was tearing apart. My daughter had lived with those thoughts for 10 years. I found a small hotel and got a room. I lay on the bed, but couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling and kept thinking. What picture was it? Why did Emily misunderstand after seeing that picture? What did I do wrong? At 3 a.m., I got out of bed and searched through my bag. I should have brought my 2015 calendar from home. I took out my phone and looked through old photos. March 2015. The photos I took then, could there be a clue? The next morning, I made a decision. I had to go home and find everything from 2015. Photos, letters, emails, everything. I had to find out what that picture was that Emily saw. That was the only way, the only key to clearing up the misunderstanding. I checked out and headed to the bus terminal. I promised myself, Emily, Mom will find it, whatever that picture was, and I'll clear up the misunderstanding. Wait. I returned to Springfield late in the evening. As soon as I entered the house, I went straight up to the attic. There were boxes of old things stacked there, photo albums, old letters, calendars from 2015. I turned on a flashlight and started opening the boxes one by one. March 2015. What happened then? Dust flew everywhere, but I couldn't stop. In the first box, I found the 2015 photo album. I sat on the bed and started turning the pages. January, February, and then March. There were photos taken in early March. Church event photos. Photos with neighbors. And there was a photo of me with a child. A little girl who looked about 8 years old. I was hugging the child tightly and smiling. My breath stopped. Could this be the photo Emily saw? I looked at the photo carefully, and the memory slowly came back. That's right, that child. In early 2015, I had participated in a church volunteer program, a program to help abused children. That little girl was Sophia. Sophia had been severely abused by her parents and was in a shelter. I took care of Sophia for several months. I met with her every weekend and spent time together. She was so lonely and scared, so I wanted to give her warmth. That photo was taken in early March. There was a thank you event at church for volunteers. Sophia and I took a picture together. I hugged Sophia tight because I wanted her to feel loved. But if Emily saw this photo, what would Emily have thought? Mom is holding another child. Does she love that child more than me? My hands trembled. Oh God, was this the beginning of the misunderstanding? I tried to remember more. What did I say to Emily back then? I decided to look through old emails. I turned on my laptop and searched for emails from March 2015, and I found it. March 8th, an email I sent to Emily. Dear Emily, the church volunteer work has been so rewarding lately. I'm helping a child named Sophia. She's a really special child. Meeting her every week has become a great joy in my life. I'm attaching a photo. Love, Mom. And as an attachment, I had sent that photo with Sophia. I looked at the email and realized I thought from Emily's perspective. At that time, Emily was going through a hard time alone in Chicago. Whatever it was, it must have been painful. Lonely, scared, unable to tell anyone. Then, an email comes from Mom. A photo of Mom hugging another child and smiling. She's a really special child. She's become a great joy in my life. How would Emily have felt? Mom forgot about me. Mom has a new daughter now. I'm not needed anymore. I cried in front of the laptop. I was such a fool. I thought I was just doing good work, helping a child in need. But when my own daughter needed me most, I was calling another child special. Emily must have completely collapsed after seeing that email. Mom doesn't love me anymore. She chose another child. That's why she went to the hospital. That's why she got counseling. That's why she cut off contact with me. But questions still remained. Why didn't Emily tell me? Mom, that's a misunderstanding. Sophia is just a child I'm helping through volunteer work. Why didn't she just ask? And another thing, what was Emily going through at that time? Why was she struggling so much? I needed more answers. So the next day, I decided to find Emily's old friends. Emily had a friend she'd been close with since high school, Jessica. Jessica and Emily had been like sisters. I had Jessica's mother's phone number. I called. Hello, Linda. This is Margaret. Margaret, it's been a while. How are you? I'm doing well. Could I get Jessica's contact information? Of course. Jessica lives in Dayton now. I'll give you her number. I wrote down the number with trembling hands. That afternoon, I called Jessica. Hello, Jessica? This is Margaret, Emily's mom. Miss Henderson, it's been so long. Jessica, I need to ask you about Emily. Silence fell on the other end of the phone. About Emily? Yes. Please, help me. Emily has been out of contact for 10 years. I know. I haven't been in touch with Emily for a long time either. But do you know if something happened in 2015? Silence again. And Jessica said carefully, Miss Henderson, I think it would be better to talk in person. The next day, I drove to Dayton. It was an hour and a half away. Jessica was waiting for me at a small coffee shop. Jessica, whom I hadn't seen in 10 years, had grown up a lot. She was now an adult in her early 30s. Miss Henderson. Jessica hugged me. I was already crying in her arms. Jessica, please tell me, what happened to Emily? We sat in a quiet corner. Jessica took a sip of coffee and took a deep breath. Miss Henderson. Emily didn't tell me everything either. I know, but please tell me what you do know. Jessica nodded. It was around February 2015. Emily called me. What did she say? She was crying. A lot. And she said, Jessica, I'm struggling. What was wrong? Jessica hesitated for a moment. She didn't say exactly. But it seemed like something serious was happening. Her voice was really broken. My voice trembled as I asked, then why didn't Emily tell me? Jessica looked at me. Emily said, don't ever tell my mom. Why? She was ashamed. And she was afraid you'd be disappointed. Disappointed? Why would I be? Emily always wanted to be the perfect daughter, Miss Henderson. She didn't want to disappoint you. No matter what happened, she didn't want to be a burden to you. Tears poured out. My daughter was struggling so much and couldn't even tell me. Jessica held my hand. That's not all, Miss Henderson. I wiped my tears and asked, what else is there? Jessica hesitated for a moment. In March, Emily called again. This time it was worse. What did she say? Crying, almost screaming, she said, Mom abandoned me. Mom chose another child. My whole body froze. What did you say? I didn't understand what she meant. So I asked, what are you talking about? What did Emily answer? Jessica took a deep breath. Emily said, I saw a picture of Mom holding another child. The way Mom looked at that child was the same as when she looked at me. I grabbed the table. And then, what happened next? Emily said, Mom said in the email that child is special, that she's a joy in her life. Then what am I? Am I not needed anymore? Oh, God. Jessica continued. I told Emily, that's a misunderstanding. Your mom wouldn't do that. Did Emily believe you? Jessica shook her head. No, Emily was convinced. Mom found a new daughter to replace me. I'm alone now. Why was Emily so convinced? She could have just asked. Jessica said quietly. Miss Henderson. At that time, Emily was mentally struggling a lot. She was broken to the point where she couldn't think rationally. Jessica said, after that day, Emily stopped answering my calls too. You, too? Yes, I was blocked too. Emily blocked everyone. Why? Probably. She was hurting too much. She thought everyone would abandon her. I couldn't hold it in any longer. I collapsed on the table and cried out loud. People in the coffee shop looked at me, but I didn't care. The fact that my daughter had lived with that misunderstanding for 10 years. It was too painful. Jessica waited quietly, and when I calmed down, she said, Miss Henderson, you need to find Emily. How? I don't even know where she is. I don't know either. But Emily needs to know that you love her, that it was all a misunderstanding. Too much time has passed. It's been 10 years. It's not too late. Never too late. You're Emily's mother. Jessica's words touched my heart. That's right. I'm Emily's mother. And a mother never gives up. Never. When I came back to my car from the coffee shop, I made a decision. No matter what, I would find Emily and tell her directly. Emily, it was a misunderstanding. Mom never abandoned you for even a moment. Sophia was just a child I was helping. You are my only daughter. You are everything to me. But the problem was how to find Emily, my daughter who had disappeared without a trace for 10 years. I sat in the car and looked up at the sky. God, please help me find my daughter. When I returned home, I thought all night that I couldn't find Emily by myself. The next morning, I searched through the phone book. Private investigator. There was a small detective agency in Springfield. I called. Hello, do you handle cases of finding missing people? Yes, we handle many such cases. Then, can I visit tomorrow? Of course. The next day, I was sitting in a small office. The detective's name was David Johnson, a man in his mid-50s with a kind face. Miss Henderson, what kind of help do you need? I told him about Emily. That contact had been lost for 10 years. That the last known address was Chicago. I showed him a photo. Mr. Johnson took notes as he listened. I understand. I'll look into it. But 10 years is a long time. If your daughter is intentionally hiding, it may be difficult to find her. I know, but I have to try. It will cost money. Is that okay? I nodded. I'll do anything for my daughter. Detective Johnson investigated for 2 weeks. During that time, I waited for a call every day, but there was no news. On a Friday afternoon after 2 weeks, the phone rang. Miss Henderson, this is Johnson. Yes. Did you find something? I found some things, but my heart raced. Please tell me. Your daughter left Chicago in June 2015. She moved to Portland, Oregon. Portland? Yes. She lived there for about a year, then went to Seattle, Washington. Where is she now? A long silence. That's the thing. The records end after 2018. What do you mean? There are no official records of your daughter after 2018. No address changes, no employment records, nothing. Then, has Emily disappeared? Or she's likely intentionally erasing her tracks. I couldn't breathe. Why? Why would Emily have to do that? Detective Johnson said carefully. Miss Henderson, in my experience, when people try to disappear this completely, there's a reason. What reason? They're running away from someone, or they want to completely cut off their past. I asked Detective Johnson, what happened to Emily's husband, Brad? Brad Johnson still lives in Chicago, working at the same company. Did he divorce Emily? According to official records, they didn't divorce. So they're still married? On paper, yes, but in reality, they seem to be separated. I thought, Brad must know something. Can I have Brad's address? Detective Johnson wrote the address on paper. But be careful, Miss Henderson. If Brad is related to why your daughter left, I know. I'll be careful. 3 days later, I took the bus to Chicago again. This time, I was going to meet Brad. Brad's apartment was in a suburban area, an ordinary building. I rang the doorbell. After a while, the door opened. Brad was standing there, my son-in-law, seen for the first time in 10 years. He had changed a lot, thin and tired-looking. "Margaret?" Brad looked surprised. "Brad, can I come in?" He hesitated. "I'm busy right now. Please, just 10 minutes." Brad sighed and opened the door. Inside the apartment was dark. The curtains were all drawn, and it felt disorganized. "Have a seat." I sat on the sofa. "Brad, do you know where Emily is?" Brad shook his head. "I don't know." "Really? She's your wife." "Not anymore." "What do you mean?" Brad looked out the window and said, "Emily left in June 2015. She left just one letter." "A letter? What did it say?" "Just, 'I'm sorry, I have to leave. Don't look for me.'" "That's all?" "Yes." "Why didn't you look for her?" Brad looked at me. There was some complex emotion in his eyes. "Emily was afraid of me." My heart stopped. "Afraid?" Brad covered his face with his hands. "One wasn't a good husband." "What do you mean?" I got angry. "Too much." I yelled. I threw things. I held my breath. "Did you hit Emily?" Brad was silent for a long time, and then, in a very small voice, he said, "Once, I pushed her. Emily fell." Tears welled up in my eyes. "How could you?" After that day, Emily completely changed. She was afraid of me, and a few months later, she disappeared. "Why didn't you report it to the police?" Emily didn't want that. In the letter she wrote, "Don't call the police, just leave me alone." I asked in a trembling voice, "Do you know why Emily was so broken at that time?" She said it was because of you. "Me?" "Emily believed that you loved another child more. She cried every day." "I loved Emily, always." "I know, but Emily didn't believe it. She said she saw some picture, that the picture proved everything." Brad sighed. Emily was mentally struggling so much at that time. I couldn't help her. I made it worse. "Do you really not know where Emily is now?" "I really don't know." I tried to find her. At first, but Emily didn't want that. I was about to stand up. I didn't want to be with Brad anymore. Then Brad said, "Wait, what?" Brad opened a drawer and took something out. An old piece of paper. This. Emily threw it away before she left. I found it in the trash. I took the paper. It was a counselor's business card. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, clinical psychologist, Seattle. Wow, Seattle. Emily must have met this counselor when she was in Seattle. When? Around 2017? I'm not sure exactly. I gripped the card tight. This was a new clue. When I got home, I made a decision. I had to go to Seattle. I had to meet Dr. Mitchell. But Seattle was too far from Ohio. I had to take a plane. I was 73 years old, and it had been a long time since I'd flown. But, for Emily, I booked a plane ticket. Departure in 1 week. During that week, I prepared. What to say when I met Emily. How to clear up the misunderstanding. I practiced every night. "Emily, it was a misunderstanding. Mom loves you. I always loved you." The night before departure, I couldn't sleep. I went into Emily's room and sat on the bed. I looked at Emily's high school graduation photo hanging on the wall. Emily smiling brightly. "Emily, Mom is coming. I won't give up until I find you." I put the photo in my bag, and I also took that photo with Sophia. I had to show it to Emily, who Sophia was, why I helped that child, and how precious Emily is to me. At 4 a.m., I knelt down and prayed, "God, please lead me to Emily, my daughter I lost for 10 years. Please, let me meet her again, and let me clear up the misunderstanding. Let Emily feel my love." Tears flowed, but this time they were tears of hope. Finally, I felt like I was getting closer to Emily. At 6 a.m., I headed to the airport. My neighbor Barbara drove me. Margaret, travel safely. I hope you find Emily. Thank you, Barbara. The airport was crowded, but I calmly went through the procedures. Check-in, security screening, gate. I boarded the plane and sat in a window seat. The plane took off. Ohio gradually became smaller. As I flew above the clouds, I thought, Emily, Mom is coming, wait for me. The plane landed at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport at 3 p.m. It was a 5-hour flight. When I left the airport, it was raining. Typical Seattle weather. I took a taxi to a downtown hotel. I got a small room and unpacked. Then I took out the business card I got from Brad, Dr. Sarah Mitchell. Tomorrow morning, I had to go see her. The next morning, I found the address. A quiet building in the Capitol Hill area. There was a small clinic on the 3rd floor. Mitchell Psychology Services. I rang the doorbell. A woman's voice came through the intercom. Do you have an appointment? No, but it's urgent. I'm sorry, but without an appointment, please. It's about my daughter, Emily Henderson. A moment of silence, and the door opened. I climbed the stairs and entered the clinic. It was a small but warm waiting room, and a woman was waiting for me at the door. A woman who looked to be in her mid-40s. She wore glasses and had a calm demeanor. I'm Dr. Mitchell. Please come in. I entered her consultation room. It was a room with comfortable sofas and bookshelves. Please sit. You mentioned Emily Henderson? Yes, I'm Emily's mother. Dr. Mitchell nodded. I understand, but as you know, patient confidentiality. I know. But please, my daughter has been out of contact for 10 years. Dr. Mitchell looked at me for a moment. Miss Henderson, I cannot give you information about a patient. But, as a mother, I think there are things you need to know. She sat in her chair and said, Can you tell me when you last saw Emily? March 2015. Dr. Mitchell looked surprised. 10 years. That long, Dr. Mitchell said carefully. Emily came to see me in 2017. 2017? Was Emily in Seattle then? Yes. She received counseling for about a year. How was Emily? What condition was she in? Dr. Mitchell took a deep breath. Very difficult condition. Among all the patients I've seen, she was one of those with the deepest trauma. My heart ached. What happened? Dr. Mitchell looked out the window. Miss Henderson, your daughter was a victim of serious domestic violence. My whole body froze. Domestic violence. Brad. Yes. Your daughter's husband abused her for a long time. How? What kind of abuse? Dr. Mitchell looked into my eyes. Emotional abuse started first. Verbal abuse, humiliation, isolation. And then, she stopped. And then what? Physical violence began. Pushing, hitting. I covered my mouth with my hand. Oh God, my daughter. Tears poured out. Dr. Mitchell handed me a tissue. Miss Henderson, do you know why your daughter didn't tell you? No. Why? Why didn't she tell me? She was ashamed. Ashamed? Yes. Many abuse victims are like that. They feel weak, like they've failed. Dr. Mitchell continued. And your daughter didn't want to be a burden to you. A burden? Emily could never be a burden to me. But your daughter thought so. She was afraid you'd be disappointed. I shook my head. I would never have been disappointed. She's my daughter, Dr. Mitchell said. Miss Henderson, do you know why your daughter completely collapsed in March 2015? The picture. I heard it was because of a picture I took with another child. That's right. But that's not all. What else is there? Dr. Mitchell leaned forward. During that time, your daughter was being severely abused by her husband. She lived in fear every night. And then she received your email, the picture of you holding another child. Dr. Mitchell's voice softened. Your daughter saw it and thought, Mom doesn't want me anymore. Mom has a new, better daughter. I'm completely alone. Emily, who was being abused, thought she had lost even her mother, her only hope. Dr. Mitchell nodded. Exactly. That's what completely broke your daughter. So she went to the hospital. Yes, on March 10, 2015, your daughter went to the emergency room because of a severe panic attack, and she told them not to call me because your daughter was convinced that you no longer loved her. I collapsed on the sofa. Everything was a misunderstanding. Yes, a terrible misunderstanding. Dr. Mitchell continued. Your daughter endured that marriage for a few more months. Why? Why didn't she leave? She thought she had nowhere to go. She couldn't go to you, and she couldn't tell her friends. Jessica knew, didn't she? Yes, but your daughter didn't tell her everything because she was ashamed. Dr. Mitchell sighed. Then in June 2015, one night, Brad became violent again. How? Your daughter didn't tell me the details. But after that night, she made a decision. What decision? To leave everything behind and go. Emily packed her bags and left with just one letter. Dr. Mitchell said, she went to Portland first. She tried to recover there for about a year. And then she came to Seattle around the end of 2016, and she found me in 2017. How was Emily's condition? Dr. Mitchell made a sad expression. She was still hurting a lot. PTSD, depression, anxiety disorder, and still she didn't contact me. Your daughter still believed that you had abandoned her. I never even had a chance to explain. That's right, Dr. Mitchell said carefully. Miss Henderson, let me tell you just one thing. What? Your daughter talked a lot about you during counseling. What did she say? How much she loved you, how much she missed you, how much she wanted to be held by you again. The tears wouldn't stop. Then why? Why didn't she contact me? She was afraid. Afraid you would reject her. Afraid you really did love another child more. Dr. Mitchell held my hand. Your daughter said once, if I just heard Mom's voice, I would fall apart. What did Emily want? Through the counseling? Dr. Mitchell answered. She wanted to heal. She wanted to become strong. And someday, she wanted to have the courage to find you. My heart raced. Really? Yes. But she thought she had to heal herself first. Did Emily heal? Dr. Mitchell hesitated for a moment. She got much better. She worked hard for a year. But, in early 2018, she suddenly stopped the counseling. Why? Why did she stop? I don't know. One day she just didn't come. Did you call? I did, but it wouldn't connect. I sent emails too, but no reply. So, Emily disappeared again. Dr. Mitchell nodded. Yes, I was worried too. But your daughter is an adult, and it was her choice. I felt desperate. How do I find her now? There are no clues. Dr. Mitchell thought for a moment, then said, there might be one thing. What? Dr. Mitchell opened her desk drawer. When your daughter came for the last time, she left this behind. She took out a small piece of paper. I took it with trembling hands. There was handwriting on the paper. Peaceful Shore Retreat. Whidbey Island, where? What is this? Your daughter said during her last session that she wanted to go somewhere quiet, somewhere with a view of the ocean. And she mentioned this name? I overheard it by chance. Your daughter was talking to someone on the phone. It sounded like a reservation. I gripped the paper tight. Is this where Emily might be? I'm not certain, but it's the only clue. I stood up. Thank you, Dr. Mitchell. Really, thank you so much. Miss Henderson. Yes? Dr. Mitchell said seriously. If you find your daughter, approach her slowly. What do you mean? Your daughter is still very hurt. If you approach too hastily, she might run away again. I understand. And tell her you love her. Keep saying it repeatedly until she believes it. I wiped my tears. I will. I promise I will. I left the clinic and immediately searched for Whidbey Island, 2 hours north of Seattle. A quiet island. I rented a car, and the next morning I headed to the island. As I drove, I thought, Emily, Mom is coming. This time, I'll definitely find you. And I'll tell you how much Mom loves you, that it was all a misunderstanding, that Mom never abandoned you for even a moment. I took the ferry to the island. The sound of waves, the sound of seagulls, and the sound of my heartbeat. I was getting closer and closer to my daughter. The ferry arrived at Whidbey Island. It was a quiet island. Small towns, forests, and endless ocean stretching out. I got out of the car and took a deep breath. Cold sea breeze, the sound of seagulls, and my heart was beating too fast. Emily, are you here? I entered the address written on the paper into GPS. Peaceful Shore Retreat. It was at the northern tip of the island, on a quiet beach. I drove for 20 minutes and arrived. I saw a small wooden sign, Peaceful Shore Retreat, Healing and Wellness Center. Following the road, a beautiful building appeared. A 2-story wooden building. The ocean was visible through large windows. There were only a few cars in the parking lot. I parked the car and sat there for a moment. I was trembling at the thought that after 10 years, I might see my daughter. I gathered my courage and entered the building. It was a warm lobby. A fire was burning in the fireplace, and there were comfortable sofas. A young woman was sitting at the reception desk. "Welcome. How can I help you?" I said in a trembling voice. "Hello. Is there someone here named Emily Henderson?" The woman checked the computer. "I'm sorry, but guest information is." "Please, I'm her mother. I've been searching for 10 years. The woman looked at me with sympathetic eyes. "Please wait a moment. I'll call the manager." A few minutes later, a woman in her 50s appeared. She had a kind face. "Hello, I'm Catherine. I'm the manager here. I'm Margaret Henderson. I'm looking for my daughter Emily." Catherine led me to a quiet room. "Miss Henderson, please sit." We sat in a small consultation room. "Emily Henderson is here." I thought my heart had stopped. "Really? She's really here?" "Yes, but," Catherine said carefully, "your daughter specifically requested privacy. She doesn't want anyone to know her location." I said with tears, "I know, but I'm her mother. Please, let me see my daughter." "Miss Henderson, it's been 10 years. I've been searching for my daughter for 10 years. Please, just 5 minutes." Catherine took a deep breath. "Do you know why your daughter came here?" "To heal. To heal from past wounds." "That's right. Your daughter has been staying here quietly for the past 6 months. Is Emily okay?" Catherine hesitated for a moment. "She's much better, but still fragile." Catherine said, "Let's do this. I'll tell your daughter that her mother is here and if she wants to meet." "Yes, please do that." Catherine stood up. "Please wait here. Your daughter is probably at the beach right now." She left the room. I was left alone. 15 minutes felt like eternity. My hands were trembling. "Emily, please meet me." The door opened. Catherine came back. Her expression was complicated. "Miss Henderson." My heart sank. Did Emily refuse? Catherine shook her head. "No, but she's very surprised and afraid." "Then, will she meet me?" Catherine said quietly. "Your daughter said, I want to meet at the beach, alone." "At the beach?" "Yes. There's a small beach behind the building. She'll wait there." I stood up. On trembling legs, Catherine guided me. Going out the back of the building, there was a small path. A path through the woods leading to the beach. "Follow that path. It takes about 5 minutes." "Thank you." "Miss Henderson." "Yes?" "Approach slowly. Your daughter startles easily." "I understand." I walked the path. Sunlight came through the trees. The sound of waves got closer and closer, and, in the distance, I could see the beach. Someone was standing on the beach, looking at the ocean. I stopped. That silhouette, a little thinner with longer hair, but I could recognize her. Emily, my daughter, after 10 years. I walked slowly. Emily didn't move. I stopped a few meters away. "Emily, My voice trembled. Emily slowly turned around. In that moment, time stopped. Emily's face, 10 years older, but still my daughter. But in those eyes, there was deep sadness. Emily was looking at me, and tears started to flow. "Mom." It was a very small voice. Tears poured from my eyes too. "Emily, my daughter." We looked at each other like that. 10 years of time was between us. I tried to take a step closer, but Emily stepped back. "Mom, why did you come?" There was fear in that voice. "Emily, I came to find you. I've been searching for 10 years. Searching? Why? Why? You're my daughter." Emily shook her head. "Mom, you have another daughter, a better daughter." My heart tore. "Emily, that was all a misunderstanding." I took out 2 photos from my bag. That photo with Sophia, and a photo of Emily as a child. "Emily, do you remember this photo? The one you saw?" Emily looked at the photo and turned away. "I don't want to see it. Please, Emily, listen. This child's name is Sophia." "I know, Mom's special child." "No, Emily. Sophia was a child I helped through volunteer work." Emily looked at me. "What?" I explained slowly. In early 2015, I participated in a church volunteer program. It was a program to help abused children. Emily was listening quietly. Sophia was severely abused by her parents and was in a shelter. She was only 8 years old. "So, Mom took care of that child?" "Yes. For a few months. She was so lonely and scared, so I met with her on weekends and spent time together." Tears flowed from Emily's eyes. "Then, she wasn't Mom's new daughter?" "Never, Emily. You are my only daughter. Forever." I continued. "When I wrote in that email that Sophia was special, it was because she was in such a difficult situation. I thought she was special for enduring the abuse. And the joy of your life? That meant I was happy I could help someone." "But, Emily," I moved closer to Emily. "You are my life itself. Not just joy, but everything." Emily covered her face with her hands. "Then, for 10 years, I misunderstood?" "Yes, Emily. It was a terrible misunderstanding." Emily knelt down and sank onto the sand. I sat next to her. Emily said in a trembling voice, "Mom, I was so struggling then." "I know, Emily. I heard from Brad." Emily looked at me in surprise. "You met Brad?" "Yes, and I met Dr. Mitchell too." "I know everything, Emily. What you went through." Emily started sobbing. "Mom, I was so ashamed. I couldn't tell you." I held Emily's hand. "Emily, I'm sorry." "Why are you sorry, Mom? I must not have been a safe person for you, to the point where you couldn't tell me when you were struggling." "No, Mom, it's not your fault." "And sending that photo, the timing was the worst." Emily nodded. "When I saw that photo, I completely fell apart. Being abused by Brad, unable to tell anyone, and thinking even Mom had abandoned me. I never abandoned you, Emily. Never." I hugged Emily. At first, Emily was stiff, but slowly, her body relaxed, and Emily fell into my arms. After 10 years, we hugged each other tightly on the beach and cried. Only the sound of waves surrounded us. "I'm sorry, Emily. I'm so sorry." "I'm sorry too, Mom, for not even asking, just disappearing." "It's okay. It's okay now. Mom is here." Emily cried like a child, as if pouring out all the sadness suppressed for 10 years. After crying for a while, we sat side by side on the sand, holding hands tight. Emily said, "Mom, I hurt so much." "I know. I'm still not completely okay." "That's okay. You can get better slowly." Emily looked at me. "Mom, do you forgive me?" "Forgive? Emily, what is there to forgive? You did nothing wrong. Not contacting you for 10 years. That's not your fault either. You were hurting, and you misunderstood." I held Emily's hand tighter. "What matters is that we've met again now." I stood up and reached out my hand to Emily. "Want to walk together?" Emily took my hand and stood up. We walked slowly along the beach. Mom, how did you find me here? Dr. Mitchell gave me a clue. And I couldn't give up. For 10 years. You kept searching? Every day, Emily. I thought of you every day. Emily choked up. Me too, Mom. I thought of you every day. I wanted to hear your voice. But I was so scared. We sat on a rock, looking at the ocean. Emily, what do you want to do now? I don't know. I want to stay here a little longer. I'm still not completely ready. That's okay. Take your time. But Emily held my hand. I want to stay in contact with Mom, this time, without cutting it off. Tears flowed from my eyes. Really? Yes. And someday, I want to go home. Springfield? Yes. With Mom. I hugged Emily again. Yes. Whenever you're ready, Mom will wait. That evening, we had dinner together at the retreat center dining room. A meal together after 10 years. At first it was awkward, but slowly, conversation flowed. Mom, what happened to Sophia? She was adopted into a good family. She's in college now. She sends me letters sometimes. I'm glad. Yes, she healed too, like you. Emily smiled a small smile. My daughter's smile, seen for the first time in 10 years. Nothing was more beautiful than that. The next morning, I had to leave. Emily walked me to the beach. Mom, travel safely. Okay, you take care here too. I'll call this week. I'll wait. I hugged Emily one more time. Emily, I love you. I always loved you, and I always will. I love you too, Mom. I came back to the car. In the rearview mirror, I could see Emily waving. Tears flowed, but this time, they were tears of happiness. 3 months passed. Emily called every week as promised. At first, they were short calls, but gradually, they got longer. Emily started telling her story. The pain, the fear, the hope. And one day, Mom, can I come home next week? My breath stopped. Really? Yes, I'm ready. I want to go home. The day Emily arrived in Springfield was December. It was snowing. I waited for Emily at the airport. And Emily appeared, carrying one small bag. We ran and hugged each other. Airport people stared, but it didn't matter. My daughter had come home. We drove home. Emily looked out the window and said, "Not much has changed." Right. Your room is the same too. Emily smiled. When we got home, Emily went up to her room. She opened the door and stood there for a long time. Mom, really nothing changed. Right. I always believed you'd come back. Emily sat on the bed and held the old teddy bear. And she started crying. I sat next to her and held my daughter. It's okay, Emily. This is home now, where you're safe. Mom, it really feels like home. For the first time in 10 years, it feels like home. 2 weeks later, it was Christmas. I decorated the tree with Emily. We baked gingerbread cookies, like we used to when Emily was young. Christmas morning, Emily found presents under the tree. What's this? Open it. Emily unwrapped it. It was a cashmere scarf. Mom, this? I prepared it 10 years ago. I kept it all this time. Emily held the scarf tight and cried. Emily wasn't completely healed. Sometimes she had nightmares. Sometimes she was anxious. But now she wasn't alone. I was by Emily's side. She continued counseling. Slowly, little by little, Emily started to laugh. A real laugh. And that was all I wanted. A year passed. Emily started a small job in Springfield, working at a bookstore, living quietly. She officially divorced Brad. Emily started a new life. And I got my daughter back. One spring day, we sat together on a park bench. Cherry blossoms were blooming. Mom, yes? I'm happy. I held Emily's hand. Me too, Emily. Me too. My name is Margaret Henderson. I'm 73 years old. No, I'm 74 now. My daughter Emily cut off contact with me for 10 years because of a terrible misunderstanding. And, because of abuse, even more terrible than that. But we met again. We cleared up the misunderstanding. And we learned to love again. I want to tell those listening to this story, don't give up. If someone you love has drifted away, search for them. If there's a misunderstanding, talk about it. It's never too late. Because love is always worth waiting for. And family is always worth coming back to. Emily is sleeping next to me now. Quiet breathing, a peaceful face. And I have finally found peace. Thank you for listening to my story. Everyone, if this story touched your heart, please hit that subscribe button. This channel shares real-life stories from seniors, pain, healing, and hope. See you in the next story. And remember, love is never too late.